orange jacket here on the program. I was saying that I possibly have the only orange jacket in the country at the moment. Does anybody else have an orange jacket? Do you perhaps have that in your cupboard? All right, well, I'm bringing orange back. What can I tell you? I love the color. You got to have it. All right, so today we are talking youth. All right, we've focused in the previous hour on youth. We're going to continue to do that. And we've got two guests here, very special guests. We're discussing matters that affect the young people in 2015. So we cannot really deny that there are many more opportunities available for youngsters today than there were back in 1976. That's something that's a reality. However, it does not mean that young people today do not face many, many challenges. Well, today we're joined by Themba Nkabinde, who is a qualified yet unemployed teacher who has struggled to find work. And also joining him is Lulama Nyirenda, who is a mother of two who fell pregnant as a teenager. It's good to have both of you, and welcome to Morning Live.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come and chat to us here on the program this morning. Themba, your story is not a unique story. There are so many qualified individuals out there, and you just happen to be a teacher. Yes, so many qualified individuals that are just struggling to find a job. How long have you been looking?
It's about 6 months now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 6 months you've been looking for a job.
For a job, yes.
So talk to me about your qualifications, your studies, where you were working. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Like I did a degree in further education and training. I majored with life orientation and religion studies. Yes, that was the degree I was doing.
And you really went on to further your studies after school. You managed to get yourself a degree. But have you worked before?
Only I was doing my practicals.
That was your practicals?
That was my practicals.
And you haven't been able to find a job since then?
To find a job since then.
Why is that? What are the reasons given to you that you cannot find a job?
I think, firstly, maybe it's because of the modules I've chose. Because I think in teaching nowadays, they require more of science, maths, and what that. So now, I did life orientation and religion studies because of, in most of these subjects, don't relate to children. So these two are the ones I loved.
Yeah.
And by choosing what I loved, I tend to not find jobs.
But it doesn't make sense to me because, there is space for it. We're always crying that in our schools there seems to be a lack of teachers
yes.
and that teachers are leaving the country, they're leaving the profession. Yes. And here we have one who is desperate for a job. How many places have you applied to?
Maybe about 6 districts. And I've submitted my CVs to the schools like near to my place.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's 6 districts you've applied to?
Yes.
What is that like?
Mostly in Gauteng. Then I have researched about other provinces and tried to call because I can't go there. It's traveling casually. It's a lot. So I called them, tried to find is there a space for me to get a job? But unfortunately,
Nothing. There's just no. All the time you're getting told there's just no work, there are no jobs, and you are qualified.
Yes.
You have the papers. What is it that you are able to teach? What could you sort of go into a school and teach?
I can teach like many subjects. Like for instance, even maths lit, I can teach it. But I don't like that teachers, like for myself, I'm qualified to, like I was majoring with psychology, and I'm qualified to teach life orientation and religion studies. So now, by choosing other subjects, it's like even though I'll be able to teach them in a good way, but it affects the learners because I'm not ready to do that. So nowadays, you find that even though you are qualified for teaching science, you are accepted to teach maths lit or something else. And that affects our learners in schools because you won't give them a good quality. You won't give them you won't have content of the subject you are teaching. You just teach based on experience and everything. But I am qualified to teach maths lit, life orientation, religion studies. I can teach even vernacular subjects.
Okay, and vernacular subjects as well. And I see now that, we've got so many schools that are going to be getting a lot more African languages rolled out. That's
Yes.
been a part of the curriculum. So
It is.
perhaps maybe then you'll get to a point where, you know, there will be more job opportunities coming your way. But do you find that there are other teachers or other professionals or friends of yours that you know that are in the same position, that are
Yes.
applying, they're in the same position?
A lot of my friends, like for instance, some of them are majoring in business, economics, maths, but still we can't find jobs. One of my friends just recently, I think last of last week, just got a job right now. But we've been waiting, we've been applying and trying to get jobs from January up until now.
Up until now.
Yes.
Wow. So what do you do to make money? How are you sustaining a life?
Now, I don't have any income coming to me, but I'm volunteering in Bokobami. There's a program I'm volunteering at. It deals with learners. So after schools, they come there and we help them with homeworks, we help them with assignments, we help them with life challenges. We're trying to motivate them about life and everything. So it keeps me busy, and it's something I like because I went to teaching profession because of the love of children, the love of sharing my experiences and sharing my knowledge. So this program is helping me a lot, even though it's volunteering, but it increases my skills also.
Yeah, increasing your skills. You're volunteering, but there's no income coming in. At the end of the month, there's no beep on your cell phone to say your salary has arrived on your phone.
Not
and
yet.
that's the reality,
Yes,
because
yes.
we need to earn that money. Tim, I'm going to continue to talk to you as we go along. But Lulama, I want to focus on your story now. And your story is you fell pregnant as a teenager. How old were you when you fell pregnant?
I was 16.
You were 16 years old.
Yes.
What was it like for you?
Oh,
Tough?
it was very difficult. Amongst my friends, I was the first one to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I had to let go of my friends because I didn't want them to carry the load that I was carrying as a parent. I just wanted them to continue being teenagers, and most of all, instead of just being a pregnant teenager, I was also diagnosed with epilepsy.
Oh.
So it was a very difficult pregnancy. And then I still went back to school after I had the baby the following year and finished my matric. And it was very difficult on my family because I was the first one to reach matric in my family.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult when my father found out that I can't go further with my studies.
Yeah. Did you have to, while you were pregnant, you stopped schooling, I gathered, because you only went back the following year.
Yes.
So did you drop out of school during the pregnancy and when you had the little one?
No, I dropped out of school. I dropped out of school the very same year. I finished grade 11.
Yeah.
And then for the following year, when I was supposed to go to grade 12, I decided to stay at home and then have the baby. Then I went back in 2003 to finish my matric.
Okay, so you went back, you finished schooling, but you'll find that a lot of young girls in your position that won't go back to school, and that'll probably be the end of their schooling if they do fall pregnant, and they'll feel that they can't go back.
They're more ashamed of what the other students will say about them when they go back to school. But then I cared more about my education than what the next person wanted to say about me. So I wanted to prove to my son that even though mommy did this, but then she managed to go further with her studies, which meant that I had a son. I didn't want him to come across drugs and then decide maybe mom dropped out of school, so let me do the same thing as mom.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be a challenge to him that just because I went to school, he has to go further, even if he goes straight to varsity.
Let's talk about the other girls that you, I suppose, were socializing with at the time. But did you find that there were any other girls that fell pregnant as well? Were there other teenage pregnancies in your year, in your circle of friends, in your neighborhood?
When I went back to school, I found that there were a lot more after me who got pregnant, but then they were still coming to school.
Okay. Why? That's the big question, because you look around and is there? In my opinion, there seems to be so much education as to the risks of teenage pregnancy, the risk of having unprotected sex, whether it be for illnesses or falling pregnant. What was it that I don't know, I suppose, led you to this?
I think I was more stubborn. My mom tried to speak to me, and lead me to the right way. But then I cared more about what my boyfriend had to say than what my parents had to say.
Yeah.
But then only in the end I ended up disappointing my parents because they are the ones who helped me through this. Yes, he was also there to help me with the baby, but then my parents are the ones who pulled through more than he did.
Yeah.
So at some point we tend to want to get the attention of our boyfriends more than our parents, thinking that maybe if I do this, if I get pregnant, he'll love me more or he won't leave me. As teenagers, you know, we tend to change boyfriends as we go along.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. Peer pressure as well.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it all boils down to is peer pressure.
Yes.
Yeah. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, did that play a part in your life at all, or was that didn't feature for you?
Not exactly.
No.
I only drank like when it came to the December holidays, but then
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I still don't drink.
Yeah.
It wasn't who I am. So I decided if my friends don't like me for who I am, I'd much rather stay home.
Yeah.
Because I don't like drinking alcohol. I don't even like the smell of cigarettes. So
Yeah.
I decided, no, I'd much rather stay home than just to go hang around with people who drink a lot. Because it wasn't serving any purpose for me.
What would you say that the lessons that you've learned along the way? I mean, if you had to have your life over again, and it's a difficult conversation to have because at the end of the day, we call it a mistake, but you have a beautiful son out of this, and who, no doubt, I don't know much about you. We've just met
He's
now.
13.
He's 13 years old, and he's your son, and you love him, and you wouldn't want to change a thing, but would you?
Yes, I would love to have had him maybe at the age of 25 or 30,
Okay.
rather than as a teenager. Because as teenagers, we take a few things for granted, like when you go home and you're hungry and then you open the bread bin, there's no bread there. And then you only just shout, "Mom, there's no bread in the bread bin." But once you become a parent,
Yeah.
you're also responsible to fill that bread bin with bread.
Yeah.
So we take such things for granted. So I think we need to value our parents and what they have to offer
Yeah.
for our lives, in our lives.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could be one of the big problems as well, is that the youth of today think they know too much.
Exactly.
I know that. I mean, I remember being young, and I remember thinking to my parents, "Oh, you know nothing. I know everything. I mean, I'm 13 years old. I know everything. What do you possibly know?" But the reality is that when you, like you say, when you become a parent, you understand the responsibility that comes with having a child, and no teenager is filled with that responsibility as yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need to start appreciating their parents more. Because I remember when I was in matric, there would be times when I was studying and then my son would be grabbing my books and then I'd have to put him down, and then at the same time I have to make sure that he has eaten and then put him to bed and then go back to studying again. It was too much.
Yeah.
I actually don't want any teenager to go through that.
Yeah.
And the worst part, I was even diagnosed with epilepsy, so I had to deal with that again. So, when teenagers, I think of pregnancies, they just think of just carrying the baby and just having the baby. But then one thing that they need to think about are the illnesses that come with pregnancy. Because you might be diagnosed with epilepsy, high blood pressure, or diabetes. So that means the stress is a lot more than just carrying the baby.
Yeah. You obviously, from what I'm gathering, did you have the support of your parents the whole way through this?
Yes, I did.
You were lucky.
Yes, I did.
Because a lot of people don't have that support.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, you'll find that the youth of today, I mean, a lot of them will perhaps fall pregnant and they may not even have a mother or a father. And they've got to now have the responsibility of another life, including their own. And that's where things go horribly wrong.
That is why I usually tell some of them, if you want to think about having a baby, the first thing I want you to do is just walk around any supermarket and then walk around the nappies aisle, anything that has to do with a baby, and then tell me whether you can budget that, you can put that in your budget. Because right now the only concern is just buying a pair of shoes with the money that they get from their parents.
Yeah.
But then once you become a parent yourself, you have to figure out whether with every season, you have to make sure that your child has the clothes that go with that season.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very difficult. And the worst part is that when you walk into a supermarket, the last thing you think about is yourself.
Yeah.
Just go
Always.
straight to the baby's aisle, and then you think about yourself once you're done.
Exactly, exactly.
So are they willing to do that to themselves?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, do you have? I think in the intro I read that you have. Do you have another child as well?
Yes, I do.
You've got 2 children now.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And did you go on to, when you finished matric? Did you go on to? Are you working now? What does your life look like now?
After I had my son, I met a woman at a mall.
Yeah.
Charmaine Price. So she gave me money to go to a call center to Cornerstone, so that I can get training. So I went there and then I finished the course.
Yeah.
But then after that, I tried to apply for a job. I didn't manage to get it. Only managed to get a job in 2011.
Wow.
And then after that one, and I was lucky to even get that job, because round about September, my dad lost his. In October, my mom lost hers. So I ended up being the breadwinner at my house.
Sure.
I had to take over.
Yeah.
So now I'm currently working with Temba at Bukobam.
Fantastic. So but you're also volunteering.
Yes.
At the same time. Yeah. These stories that we're hearing, I mean, you know, this is it's not unique. I mean, this is the story that so many South Africans have, that we've gotten from you, that we've gotten from you as well.
Yes.
What would you like? I mean, what is your you have a voice, and you've got a massive voice right now. What would you like to see change? What would you like to see different, Temba? Where would you like to see help?
You know, in our case, when we are students, like, we have a lot of pressure, financial pressure, surrounding, friends, everything. So when we try to further our studies, the sad part is you feel like you are alone and everyone is looking up to you, wishing that you do best so that you can change his life. That's pressure to me. Even our families, even our communities, when they look at us going to varsity and coming back, they see future in us. But now when we don't have a job, it's something else, and we are discouraging them. So to them, it's like this education is not a key to success, even though it is a key to success. So what I can say is, like, government, sponsors, everyone should not just give us money to further our studies, but should make sure, give us assistance, give us psychological help, give us motivate us, check, like, us each and every time, not just to give us money, 50,000, go further your studies, then in a year they ask you whether you failed or not.
Yeah.
You understand? But if they can repeatedly, like, check on us, motivate us, and see that this pressure is not affecting us in that way, I believe things can be better.
Yeah, they could be better.
Yes.
And just finally, from your perspective, Lalama, what help would you like to see? I mean, a lot of what we've spoken about is and I think we need to respect that. A lot of that is the mistakes that we do as the youth, as teenagers. And I think the lesson to learn is we have our own responsibilities. We can't always look to somebody else to solve them for ourselves. We need to be responsible. What is your message?
I would like the community to stop judging people for such mistakes and at least lend a hand here and there. And then much more, I would like for the teenagers to stop hanging around waiting for somebody to do something for them. Because I've noticed that there are other people out there around South Africa who are doing something for their communities. Just because you can't get a job, it does not mean you can't even create your own job.
Yeah.
So that is how I ended up with Bukobami, because I noticed there are a lot of teenagers just running around. All they could do is just turn around the corner and start smoking. And then if not, all of a sudden they turn that corner with a guy and then they just go to his house, and then obviously we know what happens there. So that is why I just wanted them to move from there and then to move into Bukobam, so where we can put them, where we can monitor them as to what they're doing with their lives and how far they can take their lives.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you for your honesty, both of you. It's been so interesting talking to you and just getting the real life stories of what people are experiencing on a daily basis. Themba, next time I see you, I want you to have a job. And I hope maybe today has helped a lot. Themba Nkabinda, who's a qualified yet unemployed teacher struggling to find work, and Lulama Nyirenda, who is a mother of 2, fell pregnant as a teenager, but is here as strong as ever and is teaching lessons as she goes along. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day wherever you are. And we'll see you again bright and early tomorrow morning. Shap, shap.